Welcome to the Pet Zone podcast with Victoria, Christine, Kim, and Laura, where we're armed with clippers, caffeine, and a questionable sense of humor. This is the podcast where we delve into life as pet groomers, business owners, and everything in between.
Know each other.
Or wait, do we all know each other?
Oh, it's been a while.
Yeah.
He doesn't remember me.
Yeah, I remember all of you. Just by I'm able to make the association by the names.
Right.
Kim, I know you're set up as Kim. What is your last name again?
It's Feuerstein.
Ferrestein. Yes.
Yeah.
See, I know, but I don't know if we've ever met.
Oh, I don't. Probably not, but maybe potentially in passing at Pasadena. But it's been a
Yeah.
long time since. Well, I haven't been to Pasadena since 2019. So, and then I left California.
Yeah, 2020 was my last Pasadena. Was my last Pasadena trip.
Yeah.
What time?
I think it was 20. Actually, no. I think I did. I think I did one actually. 2020, 2023. I did one.
Did they do one in 2020 because all the COVID stuff?
Well, so this was in February, so it was pre-COVID.
Oh,
It
so
was
then
in
that
middle-
was the
it
last one I went to. That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I remember in New York, in December and January, people started talking about this. But people weren't not. I would say most people weren't really taking it seriously. The first time I had a client and I went to go shake their hand, they're like, "Yeah, it's not the climate for that. I just got back from Europe and like something's going on. A lot of people are getting sick." And I was like, "Cool, I'm not sick, and I'm not really like worried about being sick, but okay, I want to shake your hand. Like it's fine." Then in January, more people started talking about it. February, it was a buzz, but again, it wasn't a buzz kill yet.
Yeah.
Then by March, everyone started freaking out. So that's when I think I was at Atlanta when just finishing testing in poodles for the National Dog Groomers Association, and they shut down the show. And I was just like, I was traveling with Martha, and we went out to eat, and we ironically called it like Martha Entiel. She does hen stripping. And we went out to dinner with friends with I can't, it was like 30 people, and all the menus, the whole restaurant smelled like bleach because everyone wanted to work. So everyone had to extra clean. And I got like the worst food poisoning. My standard poodle's period started, and I had to get on a plane sweating, not because of COVID, but because of food poisoning, and holding a very in heat standard poodle on a plane. I was literally going through security check and sweating bullets. It was not fun. It was not fun at all.
Yeah. I could imagine being on a plane with food poisoning. I've done it in a car traveling, and that's bad enough.
Oh God. I mean, like the worst of the gastrointestinal problems happened like the night before. And Martha's flight was earlier than mine, and we were just taking turns just throwing up and going number 2 and throwing up and going number 2. And it was just like, wow, crawfish. I had my river bugs. And again, I think just like they kicked up the cleaning a little too much, and that can be just as bad as not cleaning. Like it's just way too much bleach.
It's not funny, but it is funny. So when they shut down Atlanta Pet Fair, we were because we drove from California to Atlanta Pet Fair.
Oh my
with our dog.
That's
so
ambitious.
we had to leave because the hype at the time is they were going to shut the border of California down. And so we were trying to get home. So we made that trip home in 2 days. On the way there, all the restaurants start shutting down. We couldn't find toilet paper. Life was like unbearable. I went to a vending machine and decided getting tuna fish and crackers was a okay thing to do. I'm throwing up at every rest stop. I'm food poisoning too, the whole 9 yards. And we home and they never shut the border.
That's some gas station sushi.
It was gas station sushi. That was a crazy time. I have to say that like I've gotten really health conscious in how I eat. So once I started kind of incorporating after COVID, incorporating travel and dog shows, like I don't do it the same anymore because I'm so nitpicky about what I eat. I have to like look up an app to see what the restaurant prepares their food in and like how it's rated, and it's just I'm not fun anymore. So I bring a big ass cooler wherever I go. Even when I travel, I'll go to the grocery store. I'll bring a little steamer. It'll go into my hotel room. Cook. I will cook freaking 5-star meals in my room. And thing I notice is like my health amazing when my body feels amazing. But what sucked was, man, I miss friends. I miss having people around. So I would make it a point where I would eat just enough, but I would go to the restaurant with friends so we can connect. And I'd order something really insignificant. Like, I would order like a mocktail because I also don't drink alcohol anymore. So like when it's amazing how much food and alcohol connect us. And when you remove those things, even if you're somebody's best friend, you've impacted your relationship and your ability to connect with people. It's really weird.
Absolutely. We went through that too.
I missed that a lot during the pandemic because restaurants were closed here forever.
Well, I even had a little bit of it. And I even brought up the pandemic last year, a year and a half ago. I broke my back. So I was isolated in a post-acute care in a nursing home. And I had an older, she was seeing dead people. And, it was, but then people don't go visit it. And I was like, then I went home and stayed home. And Victoria was like the only person I was seeing besides my husband for a while. And climbing up the walls. We're social. We're social beings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want to be antisocial on my terms.
Yeah. Yep. No, it's I would say that these past 6 years have been it's just a beautiful lesson of learning balance and learning other things that we need. I was having a really good talk with somebody about community, and it's that's what our industry is. It's community, and and I got some of the people that I've met through even Mobile Groomer Zone. I had never met in real life, and some of these people were invited and in person at my wedding. And so like I had like 15 guests at my wedding were people that I had never met in real life, but I had experienced so much life with them through the internet. Like, especially like when I came onto Mobile Groomer Zone, I just opened up my business. It was like it just going through all these growing pains. I was just this really like happy, energetic puppy that just wanted to share all my bullshit with everyone. And so like this community came from that. And to see what, when you have a community and everything's in the best of circumstances, where everything's consistent, regardless, flat tire, money troubles, somebody gets mad at somebody, client drama, we're all consistently showing up in the best conditions. What COVID taught us was that everybody's going to be on some shakier ground. How are you going to show up for your community when you're stressed out? And that was like a lovely test for, I think, all of us. Like,
COVID win.
Yeah, it was a lot of stress. It was a lot of pressure, and just seeing all my friends from all over the world react different. And I had friends that were in their mid 50s, like, eyeing retirement, and, that had their circumstance. Everybody had their own circumstances. There were people that were in their 20s that had just taken out a bunch of loans to open up their business. There are people in the middle that just invested and expanded and they're pulling their hair out. People that were, at risk to die if they messed around with this. So like everybody, it was humbling in the sense that it made me think outside of my own experiences and have a little more empathy and understanding of what all people went through. I mean, me and Victoria, we were just like, I don't even know. We were just in this survival mode, and we just developed this intense sisterhood of just saying like, hey, listen, the world's going to be a tough place, but we're not going to let it be harder for our community.
Well, and there was so much weird information out there about groomers work, what county you're in, state you're in, especially every other state. I know about ours mostly of it was, if I went across the county line, I could be shut down. If I went over here, I was fine. And over here, we're great.
Same thing. It was nuts.
Yeah.
Victoria knows me with the battle, but in Orange County, we weren't shut down. We just had protocols we had to put in place.
Mm-hmm.
Such misinformation saying we were shut down, and my husband went on, and Victoria went on and said, we're not shut down in Orange County.
Yep.
This is what you do. And we were in contact with the health department.
Yeah.
And in fact, my husband got on first name basis as they were now buddies. But he was calling them up, and they're like, no, as long as you do this and this. In fact, John said, how about if we do this? And the guy from the health department goes, you know what? We're going to put that on our list. That's a great idea. So we were feedbacking with them. When I went online and said, you can open up, you just have to follow these protocols, I got attacked. And then people were calling the health department to turn me in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They even called the police department.
That was something in my area too.
And bananas.
And then, to make matters worse, there was a groomer who went online, bashed me for being open, went to one of my customers on a public place and told her not to go to me anymore. When she opens up, you can go to a health conscious groomer.
Oh, geez.
Well, then I went on and I said, can you please call the Orange County Health Department and find out if you... No. Following week, she opens up her doors, but right before that, she goes, oh, I guess we can open. No apologies.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, fear makes... I was a lot more angry during that time because there was a lot of that going on. We were allowed to open, but I was not willing to accept that. Whether there is a pandemic, whether the powers that be are rewriting what they're going to allow or not, these animals still need care. So my reaction was, cool. If this is what I get cuffed and stuff for, I know in a couple of years they're going to be like, oops, our bad. Here's an apology. Like, look, if I'm going to get cuffed and stuff, if I can't sit at home expecting that, hey, I have clients that don't know which end of their dog is the butt and the face. Their lives are very different. They focus in different things. They have different stresses. They don't know how to take care of their dogs. And so that, so like I have clients that are completely dependent on not me in particular, just the service. And so I wasn't willing to accept no as an answer. And granted, in New York City, they were pretty cool about it. They said, hey, if you're a single operator, you're working by yourself, then, you're free to do what you can do. And when I spoke to members of boards, I remember speaking to I think Homeland Security was where Victoria finally found the nail on the hit the nail perfectly, but spoke to all these different departments. I remember one representative I spoke to, it was great. He had said, well, do you have cleaning supplies? You got to clean. I'm like, sir, I don't mean to sound like a complete and total jerk here, but we deal with zoonotic and non-zoonotic viruses and diseases. If I wasn't cleaning before this, there would be a big problem. Of course, I clean. I have kennel salt. I have bleach. I have all these things on stock that I order like every 3-4 months. So like I have a back stock of all this stuff, and we obviously clean. The difference is I'm not going to be hugging my human clients right now. I'm not going to be getting all up in the grill piece right now. And then he laughed and he's like, wow, I didn't really think about it that way. So they left us alone. And as dog groomers, like we're like the tattoo artist of like the hair industry. So it's like people, I think what frustrated me the most, and again, I'm not pinning this on anyone in particular, but me and Victoria had spoken about this quite a bit. We had spoken that we had invested thousands of dollars, thousands of hours into the idea that we were an essential business and that we were essential in our services. We took certifications. This is what this whole industry was built on. So what frustrated me to no end is it got a little scary. And instead of the community saying, you know what, I can't take the risk, I can't be open, but I can trust my friend that's open, that she's going to poach all my clients and that she's going to take care of me. And that's where the community was supposed to come in. Now, there was a lot of that in my city, which was cool, But outside of my city, there wasn't a lot of that. And it was really, it really hurt my little feelings a lot. And I got really mad. I got really emotional about it. Fast forward to now, I can look at the perspectives of the people that let me down. And I'm like, you know what? Fear makes people do stupid, stupid things. And, I have the capacity to forgive, do not have the capacity to forget
Same
how
here.
some of those in leadership positions, when the stress happens, they fell apart. And maybe their role is best to sell products and shampoos and an idea, but maybe when it comes to real life stuff, that's where they fall apart. And maybe my strong point isn't selling people stuff and things, but my strong point was, hey, there's things going on and people need support, and they need community, and they need someone to lead, to make them feel like they're seen and heard. And that's what, Victoria, me, and countless other people stepped up and really, really, really supported people without judgment. And that was a beautiful time.
Took credit for it.
Yes.
Not naming names.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
I may have.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I would say that was the hard part about for me because I was technically in LA County. And even though I was on the border of LA County and Orange County, I had like this many Orange County clients and this many LA County clients. And people were calling mobile shop. If you tried to hide and open, nope. Oh, because we had Long Beach Health Department, and they were knocking on doors, and they were giving you $1,000 tickets if they caught you. So it became you couldn't risk $1,000. You're like, I'm not even making $1,000. I've got clients who won't come to me. So, and for me, having a giant pink trailer, kind of can't hide that at the time. So I was like, I ended up parking in my backyard, and I had a lot of clients who brought their dogs to me.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I got to work, guys. You're not paying me to sit at home.
No, and honestly, even if they were, the animals still need care.
Right.
The need doesn't go away.
Yeah.
And that's what we have created, through evolution of humans having more spare time to do other things. 20, 30 years ago, people shaved down their dogs themselves. And honestly, grooming was a luxury thing. People did, it's Christmas. Let's grow her out from October to December. Then we're going to get a real proper groom.
Yeah.
That's how shit went down back then. We have made people, I don't like to criticize people for being lazy. If I'm out there in corporate America freaking making big bucks, I'm not grooming my dog. That you pay somebody to handle the yard, to handle the laundry, to fold your panties, to do all that. Like when you exchange money and time, this is what happens. So we have made society extremely dependent on their animals' care, and they don't know.
Yeah.
So I don't criticize people anymore for it. It's just like, you can't just say that there's a pandemic. Your dog groomer who's sitting at home losing her shit right now because she's at home.
Right.
A lot of us have a lot of issues, and the reason why we do what we do our jobs is it makes us feel good to touch an animal, and that's how we deal with our stuff. So it's sad to criticize people. People are dependent on us, and that's just it.
We had a lot of customers that had cancer or other health issues that they had to have their dog done regularly. Otherwise, their health. And I actually had a client when I was trying to find out if we could open. She's like, I don't know. I just need you to, because I can't have her dirty. I have a port clean, and I need her to cuddle with me because she's pulling me through this. And I actually said, can you write that down for me? And she wrote it down. And when we were first dealing with the health department, when things were still iffy, I'm like, see, we're essential. And the guy's like, I didn't even think about that, but you're right. My mom has a little dog and she was fighting cancer and the whole thing. And people just don't realize because we don't think outside the groom, but trickle effect. And we, like you said, back in the day, it was a luxury to get your dog groomed. Now, the industry made it a necessity because we realized the health benefits for the pet and also the people.
Yeah.
I honestly, I didn't even, it feels so good to have this discussion in this kind of format, because it's so hard when we're in our Facebook groups and you're having these types of conversations via message.
Like list of my questions I was say or something, because it's like you're hitting on my bullet points.
I'm in your head. We're connected. We didn't just survive 6 years of what we just went through, and I can't get into your head.
I know. Don't mind me. I'm going to play with
have
my view here for a second, guys. Oh, but I'm here.
Yeah, no worries. It's
Nope.
it's hard to have these conversations via message. It does, because the message gets sent. There's no tone. There's no emphasis on emotion. And then 80 people see that message. And again, as Mobile Groomer Zone used to be 800 flipping people, then it was 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000. It's grown so quick, and it's no longer where we have the platform of, hey, Facebook, this is an America thing. Every other country has their own version of Facebook. No, it's like we went from middle school to high school to world school. So like there's so many different perspectives. I want to say, as like, I used to be a very active social media bunny, and I would speak, I would barely listen. I was always just shooting out all my ideas. And these past couple of years, I've just been reading, learning, ingesting, and learning the new environment, because it's so crazy just how much just this one community has changed and evolved in just the past like 5 years.
Well, so how do you get back to a place where people read or listen? Because I truly feel like, if, you know, when people disagree, and we'll just pick with shave, don't shave a dog, right? That's a universal. You in a grooming group, ask, hey, this guy wants me to shave a Great Pyrenees. What do you think I should do? And then you just get the fighting. Instead of people just being like, hey, cool, you do that. That's your jam. I do this. This is my jam. Or even on another level of, why not ask people like, well, why do you think that? Because usually if you ask them why and you understand where they're coming from, their perspective, it helps to not make you feel like you're insane and they're just a troll that's not a real person or a bot you tear apart and say horrible things to.
I know.
We need to get back.
You know, I thought even the science on that had changed, where they're like, maybe it's not regulating them in the ways we thought it was. Because isn't that usually what it has to do with? They're like, oh, that's how they regulate body temperature. And it's like, I've personally seen dogs literally behave differently when their coat shaved off.
I've been to the conferences, and it's funny. I witnessed a veterinarian that I know from here at the veterinarian conference. I was in the back of the room. This is the one that anytime anyone shaves anything down, he blasts them all over. And he was asking a question to the speaker about shaving down the dog, and he was wishy-washy back and forth. And someone also told me sometimes he says it's fine, and sometimes he'll say it's not. And the speaker actually said, well, if the groomer does it, you could just blame it on the groomer. And my jaw, I'm like sitting there because I'm, you know, technically I wasn't supposed to be there, but I was a vet tech at one point. That's how I got in.
Yeah.
But
it's
I was
an entire system of blame the groomer. I
blame the groomer. And when he walked by, he looked at me, he goes, what are you doing here? And I said, don't you remember? I'm a vet tech. In fact, I've helped you out a few times. And I just looked at him dead in the eye. And yeah, we don't have a great relationship anymore. But it's definitely an issue. When you go to these conferences and you see the other side above us, it's hard. It's really, really hard to not buy into that. What's it called or whatever of the big pharma thing, because you're starting to see some of the behaviors when you go to those conferences that we fight, and we're like, no, it might be just us. We might be perceiving it wrong. The vets don't really say that.
I think it depends on the vet.
Yeah,
it's an so I've been studying a lot in pet nutrition, Chinese medicine. I took a really great course with Dr. Ruth, and it's been interesting because it's allowed me access. Again, I kind of got out of the pet grooming forums of dog shows and conferences and started creeping more into like the nutritional background, and it's really interesting. It's interesting to kind of change your lens every once in a while, and it's really kind of cool being a nobody. And again, it allows you to just kind of blend in and learn quite a bit. So you can go to some veterinarian conferences that are, again, it depends on who paid for the building, who paid for the venue. Then that is going to prove what agenda is going to be the focal point, whether the individual vendors and speakers agree with any of it, but who put the lights on is what funds it. And a lot of times I believe Science Diet, they invested in a lot of the veterinarian schools.
Yeah, their nutrition comes from.
I'm sorry?
Their nutrition learning education all comes from Hills. So that's why
so they invested in the schools, and they said, hey, we're going to pay for these schools, and in exchange, here's here's our nutrition curriculum. So we understand, and this is happening with people medicine a lot now too, which I like. They're admitting like, hey, our nutrition, our education in nutrition ends here. And as long as they're willing to admit it, I can have respect for that. I honestly, I think that we are in history reaching a very interesting time in where we are on our timeline of evaluating like a century of stagnation and growth, which is probably the best way to put it. We have an access of information, and then everybody's fighting over whose information is right. And so when it comes to food, you've got your raw diet feeder warriors, and then you've got your kibble blend warriors, but everybody kind of at the end of the day is who's going to the vet more, who is seeing this reoccurring need. And then you can simplify that more with people medicine. I believe in my supplements, and I believe in nutrition. I believe in modern medicine. I believe in Western medicine. Who's going to the doctor more? How many prescriptions are you on? Some of these dogs are on more prescriptions than their moms and dads. And it's just, I understand it's an entire topic in its own that literally could deserve its own channel. But I have a lot of hope, because there is a lot of doctors, both in human medicine and veterinary medicine, that are pumping their own brakes and saying, there's a problem. Yep. There's a problem. We can do better. We need to do better. And that's why I'm a big fan of Dr. Ruth. Dr. Ruth's work, she cracked open the crock pot diet. I now don't just do a raw diet. I do crock pot feeding, where you can cater and design your dog's diet to exactly what their needs are. And because I'm a total dweeb, and I actually have the book right here. It's one of like an amazing book. I'm not affiliated with them at all. Healing with Whole Foods, Asian Traditions of Modern Nutrition. That's a good one. And then there's another one. I don't have it. Actually, I do have it here. 4 Paws, 5 Directions. It's also like a really good one. And, there are vets, believe it or not, they're out there that literally they're pumping the brakes and saying, hey, we're not serving man's best friend right anymore. Blaming the groomer is not working. You can only blame us for so much. I stopped plucking ear hair and stop doing anal glands, stop messing with the ear biome. And every vet was like, how come you're not doing these things anymore? I bump into them in public, and I'm like, because I got sick of getting blamed for ear infections and abscessed anal glands. You're the doctor. You can go inside. I'm the groomer. I deal with the outside.
Yep.
We started doing the same thing, and we started, we have a veterinarian down the street. We have a lot of good vets around in the area. We really do.
Same. We do.
And they do try, but every once in a while they'll blame us. So when we were plucking the ear hair way back when we were getting blamed for it, if we found an ear infection and we cleaned out the ear, we get blamed for it. So we we start listening to it. We just clean it out. We don't pluck out the ear hair. We will trim around it, but we don't pluck it out. And that same veterinarian that was blaming us for the ear infections before then was saying that we were causing the ear infections by leaving the hair in there. And I'm like, no, because we took pictures of what the ear looked like before, and we gave it to the client. We said, you give it to your vet. This is what the ear looked like before with the hair in there. Something chronic going on. Turns out was an allergy thing. And but he was blaming us. So he called me up personally. He goes, why are you not pulling out the ear hair? I said, because we're damned if we do and we're damned if we don't.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, and I go, the new science says you don't pull out the ear hair. And this is why. And he got quiet for a moment and he goes, you're right. You're right. You're 100% right. It does do that. Okay. Now him and I have a better understanding. And ear infections at the shop, we don't get blamed for them anymore.
Yeah, I've noticed a complete turnaround with infections. And, also there's a lot of personal responsibility. When I have people that ask, I'm like, listen, you can't outpill a bad diet. It's the same with their dogs. And I'm not going to tell, I tell people, I'm not going to tell you how to feed your dog, but the nutrition aspect is a complicated, it's not fast. And that's why it's not popular. It's easier to say, what cream do you have? What shampoo do you have? What process do you have? I don't care if you have 15 TheraCleans going. If the diet's crap, everything else is going to be crap. And I got really tired of watching my dogs in a state of decline and said, cool, I'm going to buy this shampoo. I'm going to buy this product. This is going to make a difference. And while I love that, I'm an aging millennial. I love vapid consumerism. The product isn't going to fix the problem. Yeah. It's the environment. It's the diet, our modern lifestyles. The dogs are just us on a hyperloop. Yeah. So we've been watching their decline faster than our modern decline. Their decline is I think their speed of aging is 10 times faster than ours. So I think by the time they're 2, they're 25.
Yeah, they changed the formula on how that's done, and a lot of it had to do with the way we were feeding them. So that 7 years to, I think, is it now 10 years?
Wow.
For every year? Something like that. I forgot what the formula changed to, but it had.
And also premature spay and neuter has definitely. I am so happy to see more vets these days that are like, no, we're not doing this anymore. They're encouraging people to, hey, suck it up. You're going to have to be a responsible pet owner for the next 2 to 3 years. There's again, I'm not an expert at being able to speak on this, but there is a process even with the females where they're not completely just cleaning out the whole system. So it doesn't kind of just jam them right into menopause.
Their hormones? What?
Yeah, no, it's amazing. The more money that gets thrown into these things, the more things that they're learning.
I have.
And the same thing with the males. They don't fully just remove the testes. They do an implant into the testes. It's supposed to actually help them psychologically not feel like they've just lost their boys.
Such men. They're such. Yeah, Kylie.
They just can't let go of them.
Let go of those balls.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's an interesting time to be alive. It's frustrating if you're dealing with anyone, whether it be a colleague, whether it be a colleague or a peer or an associate that's a veterinarian in your support network, if they're not continuing their education and they're just stuck on what's working, it's hard to have a conversation. Yeah. And it's even harder to have that conversation online.
Yeah.
Via text message.
And that goes for us too.
Yeah, big time. I remember when I was first coming into the industry, and this was a humbling thing that I experienced. First coming into the industry, and I had all these new ideas, and I was working for someone else, and I was like, oh, we got to try this product and this product, and I could just see the annoyance of my boss's face. She's like, we got what we need, we good. You want to spend your own money on this bullshit? That's fine, but dogs have problems. You're paying for it. This was in a time where if you nicked a nail, if you did something wrong, the owner would pay through the nose to make that client happy, but it was coming out of the employee's paycheck. These were dark times, but this is just how it went. That's why I became such a careful groomer, because my bullshit paycheck would get eaten up by vet bills if I kept making mistakes. So anyways, where I was going with this was I was always excited and she was never excited. And that's what encouraged me to open my own business, because every boss I worked for, they never wanted to change it. They're like, this is what we use for degreasing. This is what we use for conditioning. This is how we de-shed. I don't want to see you wasting your time doing this. So I got really bored and I opened up my own business. And after my 10th year of doing this, I had a younger groomer with less experience that I had hired, that I decided to apprentice and take some time on. And she's zipping around the trade show, going to all my peers, picking up all these things that she wants to buy. And I was like, I felt my old boss come out of my mouth and say, we're good. Listen, you can, if you want to spend your money on this nonsense. And I stopped myself and I was like, buy whatever you want.
Yeah.
Because I realized like who I was becoming. Like, it's easy to say that, cool, what we came up with in our generation or time frame of when we were continuing our education, that this is it. This is the stuff. This is the best stuff on earth. And there's not going to be anything that's going to top it. But then the next Jenny comes in and they reinvent the wheel a little bit smoother. And if we keep our minds closed, then we're no better than the people that we criticize.
Well,
absolutely.
And I don't even know if it's so much like the next generation, because they come in, they're more willing to try different things. And as somebody who's 51 years old, I get the whole, sometimes you get stuck in your ways and you're like, I don't want to change this.
Exactly.
I gotta figure this out again. God.
Exactly. It's hard to challenge things new when
right. But you don't think about, I mean, I do now, but you don't think about that so many of these manufacturers, they change ingredients. Like for me, moving from California to here to Idaho, I had to change all of my shampoos because what I was using in California did not work well up here. So I had to go through some stuff and change it out.
Yeah, I have also found that shampoo companies, and this has all been spoken with publicly in the forums. When you get a shampoo, everything's perfect. It's like a new relationship. Everything works great, man. Your grooms are on point. Dry time is quick. Clients like, oh my God, he's been smelling amazing for like 6 days. I threw up on him. He still smells great. Keep using whatever you're using. And what's so frustrating is like, you'll swear on this product. You will sing to the moon. You'll tell everyone to buy it. You'll be invested emotionally in this product. And then they sell to another company and they move on to greener pastures. And then all of a sudden that rash, that obnoxious rash we all get when you're using a harsh chemical detergent shampoo, your nail beds start peeling up. You start getting red raised bumps. Your clients are then like, hey, what's going on? Like, hey, he smells weird. Hey, he feels weird. Hey, he's itchy.
Yeah.
And it's just like, then you have to change products. And so I no longer have product loyalty at all. I'm loyal while your stuff's still transparent. The second I cannot see where your ingredients, what's being sourced, how it's being produced, where it's being manufactured, then I just break the tie and I move on. I no longer use my platform to shame and celebrate companies anymore, because what I'm going to love today, I'm probably going to hate tomorrow. And that's just kind of where we're at with things. I'm a big fan. I did learn how to make shampoo. And I think all people, when you, I'm still in New York, but I also live in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania part-time. So there's like this rites of passage of coming to Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. You're going to get into making soap and you're going to get a sourdough starter.
Oh my God.
And that's exactly what happened to me. So I got really into making shampoo and it was amazing. I loved it, but it's a labor intensive process and I could not mass produce it. And it's impossible because of the nature of creating these ingredients. I was growing the things that infused the shampoo. Jeez. So this process, while it was beautiful, it's just not tangible. So I still make shampoo bars here and there. Sometimes I buy from Chubb's. They're a great company. But I really do, between the other ones, cool, for this quarter, things are good. So they bought the right ingredients. Everything's working great. I need to be able to bet. I need to bet my reputation and the liabilities that this product isn't going to cause harm. And every time these issues happen, and even if it's 1 in 100,000, if that happens to be me, that one time that client has lost her trust in me. That has not happened a lot in 11 years of operating my business in New York City. But every time I still lose sleep over those times I had let someone down because a manufacturer had made a promise to me and whoops, hey, sorry to hear that. Yeah, we had a bad batch.
I actually had a manufacturer. We don't use them anymore, but it wasn't. They were probably the only one that stepped up. So this was like almost 20 years ago, and we had when we were using it on the face, and it was supposed to be tearless, and we rash, and the bather was not getting it in the eyes. I was watching him bathe. We had a rash day, six eyes, and I called them up and I'm like, look, we've never had this many in one day. I'm watching the bather. He's not getting it in the eyes. What is going on? He goes, where are you? And they happened to have a distributor that came and picked up half of the bottle of shampoo, picked it up, took it to their labs, tested it. On Monday, they called us and said, we're paying for the vet bills. It's a bad batch. We are recalling that shampoo. It's the whole entire batch. Too much of the citrus or something was in there. Forgot what it was. But they took it all and paid all the vet bills.
Wow.
And then they're like,
and they made a public statement.
They made a public statement. And this was like 20 years. And
I had a time where like that's amazing.
Yeah.
That we don't see that anymore. And so getting back to where you have this new groomer and you were a new groomer and all that. I was the same way. And I had a boss who I wanted to do my first grooming competition. I grew out my poodle and she did not want me to do grooming competitions, or she didn't know. She wanted me to do grooming competitions. She didn't want me to do AKC. And I grew out my poodle to do the puppy class, my first poodle. I had her on the table and I had to go pee. So I asked her to go wash her. I had just finished the puppy, the top knot and everything. Came out, she took a 10 blade to the top knot.
Someone would die.
She told me, you need to learn to stay in your lane.
I would have taken that same 10 blade to her head.
Oh
Somebody needs to stay in their lane.
I would have probably burned her shop to the ground. Like, I'm crazy though. I would have been like, so sorry, you need to learn how to stay in your lane.
Right?
I was young.
Lanes.
Was this grooming competitions or dog shows?
So the first one was I was going to do AKC, and then I was going to use her for creative. It was my dog. And she was like, no, you're going. And she also didn't really want me in the grooming competitions. She didn't want me at the classes because at that time, poaching was very prevalent. And
yes,
she was part of the grooming association for our county at the time. She ran the groomers hotline. So when people would call looking for groomers, I was constantly getting said, hey, come work for me instead of her, blah, blah, blah. And I was stupid. I go, this person said that, just letting you know. And yeah, she was a soul crusher for me. And ironically, somebody was watching this. It was head up at the time in the industry. And when I finally was breaking free, I wasn't skilled enough for her shop because she had the top groomers. And she goes, I'll take you on as a bather. You can groom part-time for pet clips and stuff. And I'll take you on. She found out I hadn't had a Saturday off in 7 years. She gave me like 3 Saturdays off. And I called her up and I said, can I please come to work? I don't know what to do. And she goes, go outside. I'm like, please come to work. And she goes, no, we don't need you. Go play outside. And then she taught me a lot. And she is the one that pushed me to go compete, go do this. And it's funny you brought it up that you had to catch yourself. This week I caught myself. So I had a groomer wanting me to use a distributor. And I went, nope, we're not using them. And it wasn't because I didn't believe in the product. It was because of the customer service. And then I went, wait a minute. I said, their product isn't bad. If you want to use it, that's fine. But I'm going to tell you, I've used it and their customer service isn't great. And I have a problem with their customer service. But if you want to use it, it's fine. But if it goes south, that's on you.
Yeah.
Because I'm done. I'm turning into the old boss.
Yeah. No, it's definitely it's an interesting evolution to watch. I'm 42 and I came into this industry when I was like 15. I did not come into the competition world or or speaking, teaching, any of that stuff until I was like 32. But so I apprenticed the old fashioned way. I ended up going to grooming school at some point. And what was interesting about grooming in the 90s, and in the early 2000s is it was a different planet. And the way that let's say like the silent generation, the greatest generation, the silent generation, and the boomers, which when they were younger coming into that, it was a very different environment. There wasn't a whole lot of community. There wasn't a whole lot of friendly banter. There was like here and there, but like everyone was just talking shit about everybody. Like everyone was really competitive. If somebody found like a secret that could make, like, I found this little trick. If you mix this and this, it makes this and it's beautiful. Nowadays, people like, look at this wonderful thing that I do. I want to make this easier for everyone. No one was sharing their secrets.
So here's what,
like guarded to death.
I'm 56.
You're not much older than me. I've only got 17 years under my belt.
I no one here. I don't know if it was the garden hose water or the Flintstone chewables, but we all look pretty good. We all look pretty freaking good. Sorry to interrupt, but literally everybody looks great. It's got to be the garden hose water.
It was definitely.
I ate a lot of those as a kid. They were so good.
Right. Well, I always say that today's organic was just our natural food back in our day.
I know.
So
well, in the when I was growing up in the 80s, we had shops that were a couple miles away from us that were our friends, and if we were behind, if anyone was behind, hey, you got anyone you could spare? They would come and we went to dinner weekly. We were friends. 90s hit, and everything changed. And it was like, I would say 90, 92, 93 is when I started to notice people, you were their competition. Why would they come and have dinner with you? Why would they come and have a chat? And I had just gotten married and I was calling up people and saying, hey, would you like to meet up and blah, blah, blah. And they'd be like, why? You're my competition. No. And so that shift changed. And so I got to see it. And then I remember in the late 90s telling my husband, God, I miss, and mind you, I miss the days when everybody would just help each other. And I think that's what kind of drove me to going to the competitions and the shows and stuff, because I felt a little bit of a community, even if it was only temporary.
Yeah. With the dog show world, what's funny, I'm going to reference an old movie. Does everybody remember Flash Dancers? The scene where Jessica Spano, I forget her actual actress name, but she'll always be Jessica Spano to me. She's on the stairs and she's the understudy for the main chick. And she's like, no, I want to snag that position. So she's got some pearls in her hands and she drops the pearls and then the girl wipes and then she is now the star. So I will come back to that reference point later. So when I first entered into the competition world, I saw the community and I saw the friendliness and I saw that, but at the same breath, I would say more so in creative than in any other industry. I know Gabby, not Gabby, sorry, Victoria. I know you can, in my head, I always say Gabby. When we're interacting online, I just always refer to you as your last name, but Victoria. I know that you can comment on this of what you've seen in creative. I was very behind the scenes for creative, helping people. And so I saw very quickly how competitive in a hateful way it could get. There's the big happy family group, and then there's a I'm going to throw some pearls on the floor so
Yes.
you wipe, and you can never compete again. You could literally see like the evil. There's no one way to put it. It's just seeing like it's supposed to be a happy thing, and it's just like I think with creative, like what those competitors go through. It's not like, oh, this for the next 2 months I got to practice this. It's a year commitment.
Yeah, it was
a year commitment of prepping, carving, and the color, and then having to walk around, like keep the hair intact. Like I'm not saying that this department of competition is harder than this. It's just very different.
You're
But
doing
it's I think you're muted, Victoria.
talking to the microphone.
Yeah. So it was a very, very, there was a lot of community and love and family, but at the same token, I wouldn't put it past somebody pushing somebody down a stage. And I honestly, I would not say this like in a media company at a dog show, but I could say this safely from my home that literally people be chasing trophies and will push a sister down the stairs. Like I don't doubt them.
I did creative. I was in Atlanta, and we moved creative from Sunday to Saturday because they were shutting down the show. That was the last time I did a creative grooming competition, but I did it for years. And most of the creative groomers out there would totally help you.
Yeah.
There is a few, yes, they'll push you down, but you learn real quick who they are.
Yeah.
You watch your back. But then the other ones, so I ran out of something and my black Indian ink spilled. I had 3 groomers. Here, use mine. Yep. Here, boom, boom. Here, you want some glitter?
Agreed.
That's how Sandra Hartness and I became friends.
Yeah.
And I was panicking. I didn't know who she was. I didn't know her. And her husband comes over with a tray of glitter, and he goes, "My wife overheard that you needed glitter. Here, take from us." That is how we became.
It's been my experience. Like in every department, I did abstract for the first time. Everybody was really cool, but again, I'm like the happy, peaceful hippie that everybody that forever in entry. Everyone was always very kind to me, but as a result, I'm able to see everything I'm not a threat to anyone, so I'm able to see the full spectrum of how ugly it could get. For example, I liked competing in things that this is my first time doing it, and I'm doing it in a competition. I know I'm going to bomb it, but this is going to be the most efficient, inexpensive lesson of how to do something perfect. I'd like to say the best reference point here is there's a story called The Archer, where they a really quick way to kind of explain where I'm driving at with this. Sorry, attention deficit disorder brain.
Squirrel.
When you can practice something perfectly, we can use the reference of being an archer. You practice every day at 40 yards, taking a shot, steadying your bow, and shooting for the middle. That's great. So then go out into the wilderness where the wind's blowing, you're in a weird angle and conditions aren't perfect. And that's the real, that's even if you don't nail it and you don't get it in the middle, you're still going to learn like how to correct from it. It's like the best lesson. So that's how like I've always operated with like how I operate my business, how I learn from people's. I want to put myself in the position to work in chaos so I can grow better. So I decided to take my friend Martha Antil's grumbly teacup poodle and do a continental and a spray up for the first time. And I had wiggies and I didn't know how the F to put them in. And Lindsay Dickens, she's just like, "Seth, you need to put in wiggies." Now keep in mind, she's got her team, she's got her dog, she's all set up. She's got literally like 5 dogs, like at various stages of ready. She is not a woman that has an extra 5 minutes. However, she took an extra 5 minutes for my desire to learn. And and she showed me how to do it. She's like, "Yep, do this, do this, do this. And she knew the dog, so she knows how evil she is too. So she's like, yep, this. And she took that time to show me. Now, this isn't some isolated incident. I've had so many times Mackenzie Murphy has stopped what she's doing to help me with something. If I was struggling with something, she talked to me afterwards. I always got an A+ education in everything that I was failing at. So I didn't really have an interest to climb that competition ladder. I would compete enough to figure out what I was doing and to stay in entry. So then I would then move to another breed. First it was Poodlingtons, then it was hand strips, and then it was the German trim, and then Bijans, and placed a couple times. It's awesome, but I kept myself in entry because I didn't want to go swim with the big boys when I was in no place prepared for it. I wanted to drown in my entry level, and that's what was great. It really, really made me a better groomer. It connected me with really great people. But I do see the potential of, again, somebody pushing you down some stairs because they see you as a threat. And that is very, very, very valid. It is a concern.
Me purposely kept myself an intermediate for basically the same reason, because I was more interested in being more a well-rounded groomer than I was being on groom team. I mean, did I want to be on groom team? Well, I dreamt about it, but I was more interested in being a more well-rounded groomer and learning things that don't normally come into my shop. For instance, my creative, we didn't have a lot of experience with Airedale Terriers. So I decided to turn my dog into an Airedale with a bunch of dogs on it to do.
I have a picture of that.
And dyed him. But the main reason why I did that creative that way is so I could have practice on Airedales.
Yeah.
That is that's
right.
That is the reason why I did it. Yeah. And then when I am poodles, when I had placed, and Jay Shrugs came up to me and said, "You realize you get one more placement and you're bumped up into open." I switched. I was like, I'm not doing poodles anymore. I'm going on to something else.
Yeah, no, that's what I did too. But because the thing is once you get in, and this is why I learned very quickly that that if you jump, that once you're an intermediate, and this is why I pumped the brakes, is because intermediate, there's not a large group. So you advance into open. Now, like, granted, if you're like, when you look at like some of the, the top contenders that are in open, that's their bliss. They're the Olympics. They're there to, this is what they do. They plan out their whole year. They make time for it. They've got the dogs for it. This is what they want to do. But for somebody that's like, hey, I can compete twice a year, it can be a little discouraging. Once you're in with the big boys, you are big boys and girls. Like it's truly there. You're truly there not to serve your own ego. You're truly there to learn, because it is a pool that if you're not ready for, you're going to lose a lot before you win. And if you do, and I have such an overwhelming amount of pride for the people, the competitors I know, because I've been able to kind of watch past 10 years people that, like, they got into open too quick and they spent 5 years losing but showing up every single freaking same show. And that, listen, winning is amazing. I used to always tell people I loved winning because I got all the attention. I'm a Leo. I love attention. So that I loved it and it made me feel good. But when I lost, I actually learned things. And so, but it hurts your ego when you do.
That's what I tell that are starting off and they're going in there and stuff. I said, don't go in there and put so much pressure on yourself to win. Go in there to learn something new. Get the critique. Maybe ask the competitor next to you, did you see something that you think I can improve on? Go and learn one thing. You've already won. That trophy will mean nothing compared to that knowledge.
Well, just finishing it, you feel like you've won.
Oh, well, there's been a couple times.
This is the best trophy I ever got.
Extra.
I did not get this dog grooming. I went to Moxie roller skating camp, and I joined the talent show, and I did stand-up comedy, and then I depressed everyone with some earthy, crunchy spoken word flowetry. And they were like, wow, you made us laugh and you made us cry in the same hour. So I won that award.
Does Sandra still compete? I always felt like she got so much grief because of the dogs she competed with. Like people hated on her
Well,
because of it.
actually, she is going out and compete. In fact, she might even be here at my shop to raid my color cabinet.
We were going to try to peer pressure her to jump on.
Yeah,
She's a wealth of knowledge, and I feel like so many people have just disrespected her.
She's had a hard few years. She lost her husband, and a couple other things happened. And she is actually going in 2 weeks, I think it is, to the Rocky Mountain Groom Expo in Arizona, Mesa, Arizona.
Oh, that sounds rad.
And she is going to be doing creative there. That's why she's here raiding my closet, because she couldn't find some punky colors in Avatar. So my husband was going to let her in.
Reason I even attempted creative.
Yeah,
we met at her.
Well, we'd known each other on Facebook and through the mobile grooming zone, and I recognized Splat.
Splat was walking around the trade show.
I recognized her butt, and I'm like, "Is that Splat?" And
the
she
heart.
turns around and Splat's like, "Yes, it's me. You know me." And she just like jumped in my arms, and Victoria started laughing, and she's like, "You're Chris," and I'm like, "You're Vicky," and we're 3,000 miles away from where we already lived, and we met each other.
But she said, you do good color work, so why don't you do creative? I said, because I'm not that good. What do you have to lose? All right, Abby, you're now a creative dog.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and